Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Kakodash. Shalom to you, sincere Akim out there pushing this word. All right, Lord willing, we have found that number. And I briefly just want to touch on this article. All right, this is some pretty significant news. All right, Esau is really, the dragon is coming down with great wrath, man. And this is just the beginning. All right, things are about to get way more uncomfortable. All right, way more uncomfortable. All right, but we're here for it. All praises. It says President Biden outlined his 6-point plan for combating CV19, which included requiring companies of 100 employees or more to mandate jabs or weekly testing. All right. So basically, we just see another phase, all right, that we're going into, all right, another mode, if you will, all right. Things are turning up, and I really just wanted to play this video and to make a few points on it. So I'll go ahead and play it.
The President of the United States saying that it's okay to do it. So I think Sadal and I are going to probably agree on this, that the president is saying that you can require employees that have to be vaccinated. I think that so many CEOs are going to be on board with that, aside from political parties.
Sadal, you think that this is going to go to the courts, though?
I don't. I completely agree with Tom that there is the cover from the president, there is the full approval from Pfizer, and companies have actually been waiting. So many CEOs that I've talked to have been just waiting to see when and how can I do this. So I don't think we're going to end up in courts. I think we're going to end up with mandates, lots of them, in order to get back into the business of the business.
One of the things that's fascinating about even what the president did yesterday, I don't know if you noticed, federal workers obviously would be covered by this, U.S. postal workers not. And I wonder whether that is actually indicative of what's happening in the country. I mean, just trying to capture the largest group and certain groups and certain big companies that have even struggled to do that thus far.
All right. And I just wanted to make a point, it's becoming more and more obvious, that the government, these politicians, mayors, elected officials, it's complete spectacle, man. It's WWE, man. It's not. It's an illusion, all right. And ultimately, it goes back to that two-party political system that originated with the Greeks, all right, and was really mastered with the Romans. All right, and the same thing that we see today. All right, so let me get that real quick. This is Revelations 13 and 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." All right, and like I said, those 2 horns representing the two-party, all right, political system. All right, Democrats, Republicans, plebeians, patricians, and then you have the optimates and the populares, all right, going all the way back to Rome, all right, and this is Rome all over again, all right. But the point I wanted to make was that ultimately the banks, the central banks of this world, all right, and these major international corporations, they have all the say-so, all right. They have all the say-so, and they are the ones pushing, all right, this enterprise, all right, this mischievous device that the scriptures talk about, okay, the NWO, all right. They're here. I mean, they're not going to stop, man. This is only going to, continue and continue, all right.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Andrew. I'd like to see it go even further, where he talked about anybody who's affiliated with Medicare. We should do Medicaid. We should do anybody who works for the government. It should be postal workers. The government really needs, I think, is a cabinet position on marketing. I don't think anybody knows how to take this thing to the public. And what's happened is we've had social media going the other way. The same thing that happened with the interference of elections and bots and going through Facebook is actually what's being done now to get people to think that you shouldn't be vaccinated. The FDA approves chemotherapy drugs. It's the same FDA that just approved.
And I mean, you know, if I may add, you know, this is why it's so important to tune in to the prophets, all right, and the apostles, all right, you know, primarily of Great Millstone, okay, because if you just watch the news without a spiritual lens and without a prophetic lens, whether you want to or not, you're going to be influenced by the things that these people are saying, when the reality, most of it is complete, you know, it's garbage, complete lies, all right, you know, and he's the idea that the idea that bots and, you know, social media, you know, like you said, bots and like the rigging of the election, that's not why the people are so against, all right, this push, all right. Ultimately, the people are so against this push is because the influence of Babylon the Great is it's wearing out. It's fading. All right, and that is all responsible and due to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, and this word coming out. All right, and His Spirit. All right, dwelling on the planet Earth. All right, even people who aren't in the truth are beginning to see right through this shit, man. And that's where you're gonna start to see the uproars of the people, all right? And we already see that taking place, you know, all throughout the world, all right?
Pfizer. This is something that the government is saying is okay, but politicians on both sides of the aisle are doing it. We're not getting the message delivered because we're talking to everybody as though they all see things the same way. They don't. There's 330 million Americans, and they see things differently, and we need to figure out how to get something conveyed to people whose brain processes it differently than everybody else's.
Okay, but here's a conundrum, at least as I see it. You have a large group of population that has no interest in taking the vaccine. You have a very tight labor market. Do you see people opting out of this labor market or trying to go to either smaller companies or leveraging this moment in some way that we haven't thought about?
Well, the question, Andrew, I agree with you, is will there be entrepreneurs that start companies and say, I'll take non-vax people if you're really smart for jobs, and they'll find a way to compete for talent.
And that's complete nonsense and complete madness, man. Complete madness. All right. The economy is not bouncing back, man. This entire situation, all right, from a financial point of view, this whole situation was created in order to, you know, exacerbate or widen, all right, the wealth, all right, the wealth gap, all right, between the poor and the rich, all right. Since the beginning of this situation, these major international corporations they've done amazing, all right. They've hit record profits, all right. You know, Amazon and Walmart. You know, the whole point of this was to extract the little bit of wealth that is left, all right, with the lower class and give it to the upper class, all right. And even with you know, the sickness, all right, when you look at some of these industries, like, you know, the medical industry, the insurance, you know, industry, biotechnology, all these industries that are key components of, you know, the world that Esau would like to establish. All right, those are all major components of that, and we see these institutions, you know, continuing to get more and more power and more control. And it's just it's like I said, you got to tune into the prophets, all right, because you get a false sense of reality. All right, things are not going back to normal. They will never go back to normal. All right, things are going to happen according to the prophecies. And, you know, that's it.
It's a very real possibility. And if you're under 100 employees, the biggest problem I have on this is why set the bar at 100? If we're going to do this, do it for all employers. And that way we're all in the same boat competing for talent. And I think that's a way to circumvent that challenge.
Right. So what do you think? I mean, part of the issue is we have this divide between white-collar and blue-collar workers. You even saw it in the context of a Walmart where, you know, at their headquarters, they were prepared to require everybody to be vaccinated, but in the stores, they weren't. Now that's going to change.
You know, what's happening now is our ability to go back to an economy that's reliant on mobility, that's reliant on consumption, all of this has slowed down dramatically. And workers, whether they're blue-collar or non-blue-collar, those who are vaccinated need the assurances that their health will be okay and the health of their children under the age of 12 that I keep repeating are also okay. So it's going to be the vaccinated. I truly believe we're going to even push harder for the unvaccinated to get us out of this state of permanent limbo that we seem to be in. And it only happens if organizations, and I agree with you, Tom, completely, all organizations begin to make this mandate.
Hey, Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, if the president's going to lead, and you know, I heard Becky talking earlier about her children not being able to be vaccinated and the 80 million children under 12 who aren't vaccinated, I'm really curious why the president didn't mandate that all teachers have to be. And I get they're not federal employees, education's on a local level, but to me, we're talking now getting political again, that's a union battle. And I think the president should come out and say, we need to protect our children. Every single teacher, everybody going into a school who's an adult over the age of 12 needs to be vaccinated. Let's take this all the way, and let's stand up and really show some backbone and do what's best for the country across all political barriers.
So here's the big question. Should this be led by politicians or should this be led by business leaders? For a long time, or at least this last year, there was a group of us, including myself, who were out there saying that business leaders just do this on their own. They don't even need the cover of government. Do you think ultimately you actually need the cover of government to do it?
Well, until you have huge tort legislation, tort reform, yeah, you need the government to cover you, and we've gotten that. You do need the government to lead in certain areas, and I'm not a pro-big government CEO. However, you know, look at the polio vaccine, look at smallpox. This has happened before, and business didn't lead with that. Government did. So you do need government to do it. Now, what we do need is more CEOs to speak up and say, we support what the government is doing, regardless of political affiliation. That would go a long way.
All right. And with that, I'll say shalom.